And some of these abuses we've seen in very famous cases are the ones that have brought this to the attention
And
of
you
people.
know, during the Cultural Revolution, and even in the early years after the end of the Cultural Revolution, marriage of the same sex was considered hooliganism in some parts of China. Therefore, those victims were subject to not only administrative punishment, but perhaps victims of legal punishment.
Yeah,
Thank you.
And also, I would just add up one thing. You know, during that period of time, any kind of sexual relationship out of marriage would be considered as a hooliganism. You know, even that relationship between the lovers. You know, so that's ridiculous. So the society has changed a lot. I agree with Edwards. You know that who made the decision, who have the right to interpret what is the petty offenders. And also there is another big loophole in that system. You know, sometimes they will say this guy is hindering, you know, the enforcement of the law and also damages the social order or social stability. So this is very dangerous, you know, for people. Sometimes, you know, people just had, I wouldn't use the word dissident, but they may have different opinions with the local leaders and criticize the leaders. And the leaders will use the public security department and use this labor camp to lock them up. And I think that's very dangerous.
In fact, Ren Jianyu, the young man who was supposed to be the village head after graduation, was very close to being called a dissident because he criticized those who deprive individuals of their personal freedom of speech. Simply because he posted a message on Weibo denouncing, you know, such kind of misbehavior. Let's look at say, the opposition from local government as to a complete abolition of the labor re-education system. Luca, what do you think of, say, the reluctance of the local government?
I think definitely, you know, for them it's a power, right? If they can interpret things very easily and in their favor, of course, they will be very reluctant to give the power away. And coming back to the issues you just discussed, I also like to mention that we also need to draw a line what is a criminal offense and what is morality issue. That right, the criminal law shouldn't really govern the morality issue. Morality is wrong, but is that criminal offense? Like what you mentioned, the sex issue. I think we should really draw a line. If we don't draw a line, it's very easily to be interpreted by the local government people side. We believe this is, you know, a petty criminal offense.
The whole national debate as to whether the labor re-education system should be abolished was triggered actually by the petition of a mother, Tang Hui, whose daughter was abducted and coercively asked to be a prostitute. And when she came to complain, she was taken back rudely and put into a re-education camp. This triggered and ignited a national debate about the brutality of the re-education labor. Now, petitioners have captured the headlines these days, and particularly those petitioners who were intercepted and taken back coercively and eventually ended up being put under the house arrest to be more lenient. But in most cases, they are sentenced to the labor re-education. What do you think of the phenomenon of a petition in China?
I think this is a social problem.
A social problem?
Yes, especially for the public officials in all levels. But the causes for them is very complicated. You know, some of the petitioners were asking help to higher authority, you know, for injustice decision by the court, or some may relating to, you know, the land development and something else. But I think those cases illustrate a very bad part of the system of the re-education through labor, because I think for minor offenders it's not a very big problem, because we have a somehow clear line between the criminal acts and the non-criminal acts. That's a general illegal acts. But you know, the line between the criticism of a government, of dissidents, or something would be considered as a troublemaker for social order or social stability, the line is not clear. And the local public officials, the public security